Okay, you can play this, right, Bimo?
Yes, Finn. It goes in my butt.
Oh.
If you are a fan of horror and Japanese manga, you have probably come across the name Junji Ito, or by chance glimpsed at his grotesque panels of horror. Having a career spanning over 30 years, he's become a legend in the manga landscape and has gathered a cult following with his large body of horror one-shots and stories, each with an unsettling theme and grotesque imagery. He has become the face of manga horror, and his works being up there with the same standard as Berserk and Kingdom. He has crafted a brand of horror that follows his name, turning what is normal and mundane, warping it into his personal brand of haunting, black and white visuals, blurring the lines of reality and horror, trapping us in an ever-growing suspense well after we flipped over the first page. This is Junji Ito. Now, some of you may be wondering, who am I talking about? Who is Junji Ito, pro weeb? Whether you know him or not, you might have come across his influence in other media and horror. His horror has influenced many Japanese movie and video games, and even influencing Western horror. Guillermo del Toro and Hideo Kojima working closely with him on the Silent Hill franchise and Hideo Kojima's new game Death Stranding. Even Diablo 4, the creator saying his work being a huge inspiration. Searching up Junji Ito, you'll be greeted to pages of gory panels from his manga. One thing is, clearly he has a horrifying, distinct style of horror. Ito entraps us in the sense of suspense from start to finish. Imagine this. You and a group of friends live in a small town. Everyone in the town talks about this haunted house at the edge. You've come across it once or twice. You don't stare at it too long. It's a big house, probably once a mansion. The wood is eaten away, all the color gone, only black and pale white, complemented by the grey sky. It looks like a black and white photo, almost unreal. All life and color stop there, and its aura sucks everything out of your face. This is what Junji Ito does. Being a manga, all panels are black and white. This lack of color creates the Junji Ito aesthetic, complementing his grotesque imagery, devoid of life, giving his characters placid, lifeless looks, creating an inhumanity, complementing his overarching theme in many of his stories, an inhumanity, warping the ordinary into horror, having the detail of minimalistic color and shading highlight the detail in the grotesque. Junji Ito uses lines to demonstrate texture, all the gory elements shaded with variety of lines to imply different squishy and drippy textures. This use of texture makes Ito's work so unsettling. This visceral detail can almost be imagined, felt, and experienced, using all of these artistic techniques and devices to sculpt these human and non-humanoid creatures that scare us. Now back to the house. Imagine exploring the house with your friends out of dumb luck, trapped in it, and the house slowly starts to melt on everyone, the wood infecting them, starting out as sores, slowly infecting the whole body. You and your friends run as they slowly turn into wooden monsters. Your friends, Junji Ito utilizes this body horror, twisting reality at his command. He utilizes this body horror by deforming and warping the human body, taking what is normal and making it horror. In Uzumaki, no, not Naruto, okay, like that Uzumaki, this one is a spiral mess of horror. Learn the difference. Now in Uzumaki, the character's limbs are twisted and contorted beyond what is humanly possible, then slowly morph into snails as their faces are swallowed into spirals. It's damn right freaky. Disgusting! Another famous one of his manga, and the first one I read actually, The Enigma of Amagari Fault, depicts these people going into holes made for them and coming out as deformed humanoid messes. This brand of horror is so unique. Rather transforming into monsters, these things have human features. They're recognizably human, but warped into something grotesque. The non-humanoid creatures, although less common, are still scary. Gyo is a perfect example. Gyo features sea monsters with insect-like legs emerging from the ocean to wreak havoc on land. It combines two very real fears, insects and the seas. It's these enticing, grotesque characters and scenarios that Ito uniquely illustrates to us, that draws us in. Uncomfortable, unlike anything in horror, making it so tempting to look at. In Gyo, the monsters are scary for two reasons. Firstly, they are freaky as hell, and also it is because these creatures are a practical type of fear, taking creatures that are usually removed from daily life and giving them the means to intrude into what would normally be considered safe from them. This concept is expanded upon in Ito's work, in which there are no safe spaces and the characters are doomed to confront the horrors. Like in a level of any video game, you are doomed to confront your fear to go to the next level. Like in Legend of Zelda, which personally is my favorite video game, but in Legend of Zelda, you have to get to many shrines and mazes that are surrounded by guardians. You have to confront them in order to get to your goal of defeating Ganon. This ties in with a common theme of Ito's manga, the idea of beyond human, which is explored in a variety of ways, inspired by themes explored in H.P. Lovecraft's works. The Big Daddy of Horror, praise Cthulhu. For example, the characters tend to lose themselves to madness, whether due to some supernatural force or their own paranoia. In this sense, they shift beyond human rationality into something darker and no longer human. Indeed, many of his stories begin with ordinary protagonists, but most eventually succumb to insanity and pull of the supernatural. In doing this, the seemingly ordinary characters become part of the horror themselves. This is evident in his works such as The Enigma of Abugari Fault. The concept of losing oneself and consequently losing agency is a scary one. In Ito's stories, the driving forces behind the horrors that are occurring are non-human. He favors godlike creatures, like the planet Remna in Hellstar Remna. The entities are beyond human comprehension and therefore beyond human intervention, like the Outer Gods and the Eldritch Gods in H.P. Lovecraft's stories. This means that there is a recurring sense of inevitable demise through Ito's work, which again strengthens the sense of losing agency. Reading such stories, one can't help but feel the fear when empathizing with the characters who have no hope of escaping their gruesome fates, no matter how much they panic or struggle. Well, you might wonder, why did I start talking about Junji Ito suddenly? Well, much earlier last year, it was announced that one of his famous works, Uzumaki, would be adapted into a 4-episode-long anime by Adult Swim and Funimation, airing late August this year. Junji Ito being my favorite horror mangaka, I was excited by this, so I wanted to do a video about him and his appeal to me, and start a video series going over many of his stories, building up to the release of Uzumaki. And I want to start another series called The Creators Showcase, where I talk about my favorite creators in anime and manga, and how they've affected me. So I wanted to start off with Junji Ito. This is, well, Junji Ito. Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I know it is very different from most of my videos, but I really wanted to do this video for a while. Don't worry, I won't be doing too many serious videos, and I will be doing memes and other funny videos, but this is just something I really wanted to do. Well, I hope you enjoyed. Please like and subscribe, wash your hands, and stay home. That would be greatly appreciated. Much love, your boy, Pro Weeb. Weeb out.